What's up? Let's learn a little bit about our amazing childbearing bodies. Today's video is going to be some foundational education that we'll be building on in the days to come. It is a super quick little anatomy lesson, so bear with me, but it will be good for you to know what I'm talking about when we get into other things like TA or core breathing, preparing the pelvic floor, and things you can do in your recovery postpartum. Pregnancy can put a lot of strain on the core and pelvic floor, so understanding these muscles a little better can help us mindfully exercise so as to minimize strain and dysfunction and prepare us for delivery and recovery. You might hear me refer to the core four. These are the four muscles or muscle groups that form the deep core system. They work together for stabilization and control of movement. They're the transverse abdominis. I have a 2-year-old, so that sounds kind of like a dinosaur name to me. So the transverse abdominis, or we'll call it the TA for short, the multifidus, the diaphragm, and the pelvic floor. The TA is the deepest layer of the abdominal wall. It moves toward and away from the spine when contracted, so think inward and outward. As it contracts, it creates tension along the midline, which is essential for your abdominal wall returning to normal postpartum. It also needs to have varying amounts of tone in order to properly support the spine and internal organs. Pregnancy naturally stretches the TA, which affects its function. So it'll be important for you to be able to consciously activate your TA in the weeks to come. So keep an eye out for a video on connecting with the TA. Okay, so number 2 of the core 4 is often overlooked. It is the multifidus. It's a tiny muscle that runs up and down each side of the spine. It attaches to each vertebra and supports and protects the spine and pelvis. It is engaged prior to movement and coordination with the TA and the pelvic floor, and is very sensitive to changes in alignment and posture. So it can be the cause of back pain when it's weak, which is really, really common in pregnancy, and a very good reason to be mindful of your posture. The diaphragm is number 3. When you breathe properly, the diaphragm contracts and descends as you inhale. In response, the pelvic floor lengthens and descends, and the TA lengthens and expands. The opposite occurs on exhale. So see how this is all working together? Even if you're not able to visualize those muscles doing those things at the same time, just knowing that they all are coordinating with each other and moving in response to the other is really what, the meat and potatoes of what I want you to know here. So posture changes in pregnancy impact the diaphragm, which make it harder for the TA and the pelvic floor to move with breath as well. So being mindful of your posture and your body alignment are crucial for optimal core function in pregnancy and postpartum. Finally, the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor lengthens and lowers when you inhale, and rises and shortens when you exhale, in sync with the diaphragm. Super cool. When the muscles of the pelvic floor, the diaphragm, and the TA work together, they can also help manage intra-abdominal pressure. This is very important for minimizing the effects of pregnancy, namely pelvic floor dysfunction and diastasis recti. Learning how to connect with your pelvic floor will help you create tension in your abdominal wall and set you up for more comfortable pregnancy, a responsive pelvic floor for birth, and a quicker recovery. So that's the core 4. In the days and weeks to come, we will spend a lot of time practicing proper alignment, breathing, coordination of these muscles, and learning how to apply it with movement and exercise in everyday life, especially postpartum. The more you practice, and the more you do now, the more muscle memory you will develop for after delivery to have a strong recovery and the confidence that you're prepared for when that time comes.